Okay, good morning, guys. Happy Saturday.
Morning.
I'm not sure exactly what the date is, but it's the last Saturday of 2023. Can we believe that? Anyhow, guys, happy Saturday, happy walk and talk. How's everybody doing?
Hey, good morning. Good.
Good morning. Doing great.
Good morning. Good morning. All right. Well, I am in a different location here. Actually visiting my dad, so hence the different background here. Lots of cardinals in this room. This is what we call the cardinal room. So my mom always loved cardinals, so it's kind of decorated that way. Kind of a fun spot to be broadcasting from, but just wanted to get started here. We've got a lot of people in here and a lot that are still joining, but just for those that are new, because I know we've got some new people, the format here is not anything super formal. We're going to go around. We're going to talk about things related to HealthPointe, and those that care to be on camera and care to contribute with a question or a comment, they're welcome to. It's not required, of course. People that just want to be in the meeting here and be, kind of a fly on the wall and just observe it, that's fantastic. So, and all of this with the recording, we will get it up onto YouTube, because there's some people, particularly in different time zones, that might not be able to get up at the crack of birds like the rest of us and get on this 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time call here. So, gosh, Kathy, I know you're in the program here this morning, and last week we didn't, I wanted to call on you, and we got talking about a couple other topics. We got talking about essential amino acids and some other content that was really great, and I missed the step queen. So Kathy, as we get started here, if you care to contribute, I'll turn it over to you. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, no worries at all. That was all very, very important content. A little bit more important than the step queen. So no worries at all. As you've termed me, my name is Kathy Munoz, and I have been nicknamed the step queen by Eric. very endearingly, term of endearment. I really appreciate it. But real quick about my story. Back in 2018, I was diagnosed pre-diabetic and needed to lose some weight and wanted to take control of my health. And fortunately, I was already involved in our business and I was aware of HealthPointe. And one thing I was going to chime in last week, I was going to say, when you mentioned the book Better Than Before, I read that book before. Reading that book is actually what turned the corner for me and helped me decide to do HealthPointe. I had read the book. I was at Winter Conference and Melanie Farrell had talked about the book, and I bought the book and I went home and read the book, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this now. So, because I did not want to be diabetic. My mom's diabetic. My grandfather was diabetic. I didn't want to be diabetic. So that was a turning point book for me. And I kind of forgot about it. So I'm kind of glad you brought that up, Eric, last week. So that was cool. So thanks for that. So anyway, quick about my journey. Back in June of 2018, after reading that book, I decided, yep, time to do something. I did it and dropped 58 pounds by January 5th or 6th of 2019. And I have kept it off the entire time, even during COVID. Maybe I might have gained about 10 pounds during COVID, but got rid of it right away after we were able to really get back into the grocery stores and get the right foods and get in a better frame of mind. But during that whole time, I continued to follow the HealthPointe program for the most part and continued to drink my water, took my supplements. And my husband got COVID. He got sick. I didn't. I tested positive, but I was asymptomatic. And I attribute that to continuing to drink my water and do my steps every day and take my supplements. He was taking supplements, but he wasn't walking. It wasn't walking at all. And he wasn't really drinking much water. So I attribute a lot of that healthy living to what kept me asymptomatic. And actually right now, my mom has COVID and so does my husband, and they're quarantining at my mom's house. And again, I haven't tested because I don't even have any symptoms. So little plug for there for just healthy living. But back to Step Queen. A year and 274 days today, I
Woohoo!
set a goal of doing 10,000 steps a day. Wanted to see if I could do it for a year because I wanted to see what my Fitbit was going to do, which it did absolutely nothing. And I was quite upset about it. It just said you're on day 366 of a streak. And I was like, really? So, but after doing it for a year, it is truly who I am. And even during the holidays, Christmas Day, I ended up in charge of doing everything for dinner since my mom was sick. We didn't know she had COVID. We thought she had a bad cold, but I ended up having to do all of dinner. And I'm like, holy crap, how am I gonna get my steps in and do dinner? And I managed to hammer out like 3,000 before I started cooking dinner. And this just in between cooking dinner and everything, just stepping throughout the day. And I still did it. So, because it is who I am. And now that I'm a step queen, I mean, I definitely have a reputation to live up to now. So,
That's a great reputation to have to live up to, huh?
It really is. It really is. And when we were at my sister-in-law's or my niece's on Christmas Eve, they're like, how you doing your stuff? So I'm like, oh, I'm like almost there. I'm like at 9,200. And I'm like, I'll get them in. Don't worry. And like, yeah, we know you will, you know. So they saw me walking around, you know. They haven't decided to jump on board yet, but you know, maybe it'll be after 2 years, maybe they'll decide.
You know, you had mentioned about how the Gretchen Rubin book was kind of pivotal in you starting HealthPointe, and now here you are with an incredible string of habits. Do you recall, was there anything in the Gretchen Rubin book, again, that's called Better Than Before, for those that aren't familiar with it? We talked about it a bit last week. Carol brought it up. It's a great book, along with the one by James Clear called Atomic Habits. But do you remember any particular things that you learned in that book that's helped you achieve the incredible habit formation that you now enjoy?
Honestly, I don't, because it was so long ago. I thought about like cracking it back open, just kind of doing a reread on it. But I think it was more just putting me in the mindset of wanting to make a change and knowing that you can make a change. And I kind of remember, like reading that, like, this is something that you can do, it is possible. And it just kind of gave me like probably more of the mindset toward thinking that way, because I never really had much of a growth mindset prior to that. So, I just remember just like kind of reading it and just going, yeah, Melanie was right. This is a good book. And, maybe this is something that I really can do, Atomic Habits still is like that's the Bible. There's so many things in that book, that I remember. I could talk about forever, but
between those two books, it just covers, all the bases as it relates to habits. But what you're saying is pretty interesting. I think sometimes people can think that there's got to be this magic technique, and yes, there is techniques in Gretchen Rubin's book for sure, and there are techniques in James Clear book for sure. But what I'm hearing you say, Kathy, is that it more or less was just a broad sweeping understanding that you can do this. That was, is what kind of turned the corner for you, that, here you read this book and yeah, it's got the techniques, but it was a general understanding that this notion of being able to take on something new, create a different day-to-day existence vis-a-vis new habits, that you can do that. And then that, coupled with your diagnosis of pre-diabetes, which certainly I'm sure kind of fired you up into wanting to implement those habits. And so I think that's a great thing to just recognize, is that, sometimes you read a book, it's not like you have to get a PhD in it, but you literally just have to kind of take the first step in your case, literally speaking. So that is excellent, Kathy. Thank you so much. I love your story. We all are inspired by it. 58 pounds down, and your comments about COVID and so forth like that. It's something that we routinely remind ourselves in HealthPointe. This isn't called Diet Point. It is called HealthPointe. It's more than just losing weight. If somebody has that goal to lose weight, hey, that's a great foundation for good health, is to get to your healthy weight, no doubt about it. But HealthPointe goes beyond that. It goes into, setting up a lifetime of health. So great to hear that you're staying healthy, and that's great. So we're going to continue around the horn here, and Carol, I see that you're on here, and then we will go to Eileen and Bruce, and then to Billy. So good morning, Carol.
Well, good morning, and my apologies for being a few minutes late. I had some internet challenges, but we got those taken care of. So it worked out great, because listening to Kathy's story just brings up so many thoughts about the beauty of HealthPointe. And two words that come to my mind are transformation, which I love to use that word because I truly believe HealthPointe is a transformation process that will transform you for the better for life. And then the other one is identification, the walking queen. Isn't it nice to be known by everybody as the walking queen? And Kathy certainly has been a tremendous example of transformation and identification, and continues on. And we talk about her often, as we do others on the call here. Boy, I'm just, every time I get on these calls and listen to you guys, it just burns in my passion, as is Eric's. We often discuss of getting more people on HealthPointe. And last night, I thought, oh, this hit me so between the eyes. So I don't even remember. I think I was watching a little Hallmark movie before I went to bed. I typically will put on a Hallmark movie. And so I just sleep in peace and quiet and sweetness. Anyway, and there happened to be this advertisement on the Ozempic. Now, I have to tell you, you know where I stand on all that, so I'm not going to go down that road. But what it did was it put such glory to the pill and such beauty and drama. So Ozempic, apparently, the song that they use was from a musical star. I don't even know who he is, but he was on doing this Ozempic thing. And he was singing his song to Ozempic. This was a song that he had written many years ago, and Ozempic chose to use that as their song. And so he is glorifying this pill. And I'm thinking to myself, what a disservice those types of advertising do to the human person, the humanity. When you can put a glory to a pill that's going to transform your life, which it's not going to do any of that. It's going to prevent you from digesting your food as quickly, so you don't get as hungry as fast. But it's not teaching you anything. And I go back to the Gretchen Rubin book, and if there was one thing I remember out of that book, and kind of like Kathy, drawing a blank, I really draw a blank to the rest of the book. I just remember, for me too, like Kathy, we sat in the same seminar, and we just gravitated to getting the book. But as I mentioned last week, the big thing about the book was creating habits so you don't have to make decisions anymore. Then you can save your decisions for other things, more important things. And the habits just automatically take care of themselves. And what those habits do is they become who you are. as Kathy said. And so for the rest of your life, it's just who you are. It's just what you do. And I heard other people say the same thing, the same habits that we just fall into day to day. They can be good habits or they can be bad habits. It's a choice. But unlike taking a pill, that's a habit too, but it doesn't change anything. And if you don't take that pill for the rest of your life, which they have no idea the ill effects of medicine like that over a period of time, although there's a lot of disclaimers, if you listen to the ad, what this does is it teaches you eat properly, eat healthily, fall in love with food. Food is your friend, food is your tool, food is your fuel. Walking, you feel so great when you walk. You let go of all those mental anxieties that we're faced with every day. We're doing something for ourselves. We're saying, yes, this is my body and I'm taking good care of it. We drink water, all those habits that we do, and they're all so great. And, as we mentioned before, Hank and I have, we're many years ahead of many of you. And if I could say to you, creating those habits as early as you can in life, but it doesn't matter when, just create them, will just add tons of quality to the years in your life. And I always said for many years, I want to grow old, but I want to do it healthily. I don't want to be old in a wheelchair in some nursing home. I mean, I'm not saying anything against that. I'm just saying I'm going to do everything in my power to be able to be active, feel good, be productive. And that comes from making healthy choices, mentally and psychologically, because we all know that we not only have to make decisions physically, but we have to clear out those toxins in our mind. And that's what our program can help us do. So thank you, Kathy, for that beautiful story, because we just all have to be reminded of the responsibility we have to at least share it with somebody. If they're not ready to make those changes, then that's their responsibility. But our responsibility is to share it with them. So that's my little take this morning, Eric.
Hey,
I'll
that's
turn
great.
it back over to you.
Sure. It's great as always. Just again, everybody, like Kathy talks about how it's just who she is. And Carol, when you just, open up and talk on this walk and talk session, it just comes from inside you. And it's just such great points. And I'm always scribbling down notes when you're talking, when everybody's talking, quite frankly. But you mentioned something there about the Ozempic kind of jingle, and that's advertising. That is branding. That's advertising. What I think of when I think of that type of approach is a good example, because we've all seen it, is beer commercials, right? And what do they show in beer commercials? They show or any kind of like liquor or alcohol commercials is, young, athletic looking, fun loving, super attractive people. And then, it's whatever brand of beer. I won't call out any brand of beer in particular, but okay, what is the reality? Well, somebody that sits down to too much beer on a regular basis usually doesn't look like those people. They're usually not having that kind of fun like those people, and they don't, it's the reality does not match the branding. But they sell a lot of beer, they sell a lot of alcohol. And guys, I'm not down on beer and alcohol. That's not my point here. My point is that we've got to, as intelligent people thinking about our health, is we've got to rise above some of these incredible marketing messages that are out there. And it's not just the jingle that's going along with these GLP-1 drugs, whether they be Ozempic or Mounjaro and stuff. And And again, all these pharmaceuticals, they may have a time and a place and so forth, but just recognize that you're being marketed to. And the more subtle ones would be just your day-to-day experience in the grocery stores. I can't tell you how many people that when I start them on HealthPointe and I ask them what they eat currently for, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just to kind of get a gauge of where they're at and where we'll be moving to. Many people proudly talk about the big bowl of, again, I won't mention the brand, but we'll just say it's an instant oats. And, it's heart healthy, right? That's the marketing message. It's heart healthy. It's even got the seal, the red heart on it, and it's got, heart healthy. Well, flip it over and look at the nutrition label. Look at the facts. Look at the carbs and sugars that are in one serving. Now you think about everything that you add on to that, and it's no wonder, you can be up, you could be screaming past 100 net carbs into your body, before noon. And yet you feel, according to the marketing messages, that you're eating very, very healthy. And so, so I would say that's a great reminder, Carol, to be aware of these strong marketing messages out there. And then the other thing that I made note of, with the Gretchen Rubin book and others, James Clear, is that habits actually increase your creativity. And that is a bit counterintuitive to most of us when we really start down any type of habit discipline, because one of the things that's often said, or maybe you find yourself saying it to yourself, is almost proudly saying, well, I don't want to get into that routine, those habits, because I'm a creative person. I'm, maybe artsy, or however you kind of, think of yourself. And that's great. But here is what's interesting. And those of us that, do a lot of habit type structures know this. What Carol's saying is your creativity. If you want to be creative, the best thing you can do for yourself is structure other elements in your life into habits. I'll give you my example here is Emily, my wife, flew off to Hawaii. Let's all shed a tear for her, but she's joining her parents and sisters on a trip out there. And I said, hey, I'm going to stay back. I'm going to stay with my dad during Christmas and the holidays. And so point is, as I mentioned at the start of this, is I'm out of my normal element. I'm not at home. I'm not in where those routines are and so forth. And I can tell you that, especially the initial time here, my creativity dropped. So I do, some of the things that I would typically do, particularly early in the day, with some reading that, stimulates some creative thinking and some problem solving and some plans and stuff like that. For business and so forth, that kind of suffered. Why? Because my normal habit of what I do at home in terms of getting up, just habitually going through the sequence of things in terms of walking and stuff like that, that was disrupted. Now, of course, you need to adapt, and I have while here. But my point, to Carol's point, is my creativity actually diminished because I was kind of dislodged from my normal habits. So for those that think that habits diminish the, artsy creativity, no, it actually, if you have habits, it increases the bandwidth for doing things that are more creative. So Carol, just great stuff. Go ahead.
I think it also increases your ability to believe in your creativity. Because when you've had habits, psychologically, you say, I have a handle on that. Those are my habits. And so what that does is it builds a psychological confidence in you that things that are not habits, but are creative and maybe outside the box, you believe more you can do those because your belief system is up there, because you've already done a ton of really good things in your past. And so you have a belief pattern to fall back on, which makes it even more easy to start new good habits or follow through with a new creative idea just because you have confidence in the ones you already accomplished. Kind of like climbing a mountain, and you get halfway up and you think, whoa, look how far I've come. And so then I can go the rest of the way, or I can do this, or I can do that. And I think that's is just a payoff, not only physiologically, but also psychologically.
Oh, that's again, what a great statement there. You say you have a belief pattern that you can fall back on, and wow, that's so true, so key. Many of us, we can look through our life and things that maybe we were just kind of pushed to go through and accomplish. Maybe it's a schooling system. Some people have gone to college, some people haven't gone to college. But in terms of just speaking to that on the college front, sometimes if I get asked, hey, what was the value of college to me? For me, of course, these many years later, I don't have much value in actually the curriculum that I learned, but what it was what I call a notch in the stick. I knew that if I could go through that, particularly how I had to go through college and paying for it and stuff like that, that is a belief, a self-confidence that if I can do that, I surely can do this other thing that I'm setting after. And Carol, what I hear you saying is when you set up these habit structures, which lead to achievement, which lead to, if they're positive habits, to positive outcomes, that is a foundational belief system that you can fall back on, maybe when hit with another stress. And let's look at the opposite of that. If somebody doesn't have any habit structures in their life, if they haven't learned the power of habits, if they haven't benefited from the outcomes of having habits in their lives that lead to these great outcomes, and so they don't have that habit muscle, that habit skill, they get hit with a stressor in life, and it can be any stressor, and they have no belief system to fall back on that they can set up a structure and work through that. That's pretty shaky ground. I don't know if I make my point clear, but we all get hit with things in life that are unpredictable. Life can be unpredictable. Better to be hit with that with a foundation of habit strengths, which leads to emotional strength, psychological strength, than to be hit with that lacking those skill sets, because that can be pretty difficult then to work through those struggles or something. So, such great stuff. We will move on. I think next, if you're interested, and for all these names, by the way, that I'm calling on here, it's either because you've mentioned that you had interest in talking, or guys, if you want to raise your hand, particularly if you're new in this room and you do want to participate, just hit the hand raising and I'll work to get you in. But we are going to go to Eileen and Bruce. Good morning, Eileen.
Good morning. So I wanted to share something real quick. I'm an 83-year-old mom. She weighs over 200 pounds. She has trouble walking. She has all kinds of problems. And I never pressured her about this program because she'll say that her main happiness in life is going out to eat with her friends, having good food, blah, blah, blah. So she's been doing physical therapy for whatever reason, and they're helping her to walk a little more. So that's been a good thing for her. And she just told me she's going to join my program. We met with Carol for 2 hours. Carol met with her. So
that was so fun.
As soon as she gets her, her supplements and everything, she's going to start in the next couple weeks. So I'm excited about that.
Woohoo! Yeah.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
You know what sold her on that is Eileen. Eileen and Bruce, but Eileen was the forerunner. She did it a month before her husband joined her. And she said, I see such a beautiful transformation in my daughter. She said, I want to do that too. And when you see somebody that has done it, it makes, especially in your family, and that person from, what they were like. And to see that transformation and to say, I want that too. That goes way beyond a reading on a scale. So Eileen, a lot of that goes to you. You didn't push, you just showed by example. So,
Well, I did want to share one other thing about that. You know, you've heard me say, I feel like I got me back again.
mhm.
Well, it's embarrassing, but she told Carol, I feel like I got my daughter back because before I started this program, she said I was so crabby and I was so touchy. And I know I would get so angry all the time. And I think it was the sugar I was eating all the time. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so not
Well,
only do well, was walking until I got hurt. I'm starting to walk again, but in general, I'm happier. But I think the sugar really impacted me negatively a lot.
Absolutely. Wow, that's such a powerful. Well, to Carol's point, our biggest influence is through our own example, and especially close to family. Oh, and especially a mother, right? These are the closest to us. Or maybe a mother or a brother or a sister. I don't know. Those can be tough too. But still, the power of example. Now, for those that maybe don't know Eileen, tell us a little bit. I know you've shared numbers before, or if you want to share Bruce's numbers, I think Bruce is on here as well. Maybe we'll hear from him directly. But approximately when did you start the program? What are your numbers like, etc.?
So I started the program the end of August, and I'm so close to hitting 50 pounds. You know how your weight goes up and down a little bit. I started on August 14th, and I'm at like 48 pounds. So I'll be hitting 50
woohoo!
soon. Yeah, I'm very excited. And then I felt a little uncomfortable in a sense about getting lower, like into a lower weight. But something happened where I know, I went through all my clothes in the garage. I pulled out the smaller clothes and all. And now I'm excited about, actually, I feel like I'm okay with being smaller. I don't know why. It's some weird mental thing about, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
Oh,
okay, I'm wearing some of these clothes I used to love. And I have even more clothes when I lose the next 25 that I'm okay with wearing. I'm excited about it.
What was so
Hey.
cute too was you were saying to your mom, the clothes that maybe I've gone past already, I'll give to you, and you can move down into those clothes. And so she's already painting the vision for her mom, what her mom can do, which I thought was so cute.
Yeah, so she's going to come over and we're going to look through my clothes that I'm giving away, and I'm going to put them in a box for her that says mom, because she doesn't have room where she's staying, and she's got that to look forward to.
wow. What a great story, and what great, personal success on your part. Almost 50 pounds. I know it will be soon. And boy, it's just the ripple effect of a positive influence over to your mom. Congratulations again.
Yeah.
And Bruce, I mentioned you, if you are out walking there. Good morning, Bruce. Do you care to chime in at all?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. First, want to just say I appreciate being able to have you put us on early like this. We do have other things that are going on this morning, so appreciate that. And just like Eileen, she's almost a 50. I'm closing in on almost 40, and pretty
Woohoo!
much,
Woohoo!
yeah, thanks. Almost the same story as just like, we see the new clothes, and I'm really looking forward to getting into that new wardrobe, and I can already wear a lot of the things. So I'm just really excited about that. Last couple of days I'd been struggling with trying to go. I was going up a little and then down just very slowly. But I hopped on the scale this morning and I was down almost 2 pounds. So
Oh, wow.
I'm just
Nice.
glad about that. So yeah, that's about it for me.
Oh,
When they
that's
say up or down, I have to tell you, they have scales that measure ounces. So they are up 2 ounces or down 1 ounce, and sometimes pounds, like you said, but they watch it like a hawk. And it's so funny. Oh, I put on a little, you're talking about 2 ounces here, Anyway.
right. And let's identify, Carol, since you're able to chime in here on Bruce and Eileen. I know that you've mentioned this before, so I'll just kind of call it out that one of the things that you said that Bruce and Eileen are absolutely phenomenal about, and you've shared it in the walk and talk here, is their check-in. You talk about their,
Yeah.
you know, is there accountability? And I know you and I separately in conversations that we have, in fact, I think it was just yesterday, you and I were riffing a bit, you know, back and forth on you coaching me and guiding me on some things, and just we talking about different people and personalities, and that's both the art and the science of facilitating, of coaching, of helping people with these changes, is the different personalities. But through and through, it's those that just, whether they set an alarm on their phone to just every morning check in at that time, or however they do it, you know, and there's different tools and techniques to do it. But time and time again, would you say that it's the consistent thread behind those that lose weight and get healthy the way the HealthPointe program outlines it, stabilize that, and then go on into stable lifetime maintenance and never gain that back? The common denominator of that is the accountability, the check-in.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that that is probably one of the most powerful points of the whole HealthPointe program, because it just keeps everybody on track. It helps the coach tremendously because we know exactly where a person is at, and if they're struggling, we can help. If they are not sending pictures or digital or whatever the mode is that works for them, then we can't help because we don't know what's going on. And many times, certainly not with Bruce and Eileen, they've been stellar on this, but many times I've coached people, and if they drop down to the dumpers a little bit, what they really should do is get on the text, get on the phone, whatever they have to do, talk it out with their coach. But what most people do is be quiet. And that's the hardest thing to do, because then you can't help a person if they are quiet and they won't explain to you what's going on in their heart. And so I think the accountability is really, really key. Excuse me, there's a truck going by here real quick. The other thing, and I want Eileen to put the picture on Facebook. She's been doing some really good posts that you guys should use, can use with new people. I'm certainly using them. But is the preparation. She shows in her refrigerator all these little containers that she got from Amazon, and she's got all these snacks and all these proteins and stuff divvied out so that at any point, and you know, Bruce and Eileen, they are very social people, so they're always on the go doing something fun with friends. So preparation is extremely important for them. And they've got, she showed me a picture, I hope you put it on Facebook, Eileen, of all the containers of all the snacks, the protein choices, the fruits and veggies. They're all little containers, so she can just grab what she needs, kind of like you, Eric, with your green bowl.
Yeah.
Your ancient green bowl. It's all preparation, and preparation tells me what's going on in the person's mind. It tells me if you're prepared, that means you are prepared to win. You're not prepared to lose. You don't do those things because you think you're going to lose. You do those things because everything you do is going to help you win. So again, it goes back to the accountability, the whole psychological thing, because that's got to be right for the rest of it to happen. So
yeah, absolutely, for sure. And I've got a real poignant example that just happened yesterday. You know, we've got a lot of, you know, people getting started. This is kind of traditionally a time of, you know, New Year's resolutions, and we're going to help people, you know, not just do a New Year's resolution and have it fizzle out 2 weeks later, but rather if they check in, we'll help them continue and make 2024 a really transformative year for them. But so we have a lot of people coming in. I had another new person get started yesterday. And to the point of accountability, to Carol's point, this gentleman actually was familiar with HealthPointe and actually had a HealthPointe kit. Now, for those, and here's my point, for those that just think you can just read about it and implement it and get the results, well, maybe there's certain people that's the case, but most of us, that is not the case. Most of us, we've gotten to where we are being accountable only to one person, and that's ourselves, and that's the worst person to be accountable to. And we haven't had the guidance. And so this gentleman actually had the kit. So he's got all the information, but it was a number of years ago that he got it, and he didn't get the result. He knows that you can get the results from the HealthPointe, but there's something missing that doesn't come in the kit, and that's your coach, that's your facilitator, that's hopefully your friend. Hopefully it's a relationship that you enjoy. It's not difficult or unwieldy to communicate and check in with them. But that doesn't come inherently with the kit. So this gentleman actually had the HealthPointe kit, knew that he could get the results, but he didn't have the connectivity to the coach. Now he will. I'm going to help him get started on January 8th. And provided he does his part, I'm going to do my part, and we're going to guide him through his transformation and help him reach his weight goals and his overall health goals. So that is a super important component of the HealthPointe program, is that accountability, that facilitator, that coach. And that doesn't come in the kit. That information is there in the kit, but as somebody told me, they said, Eric, if it just took information, we would all have abs that look like six packs, and we'd all be billionaires. Because the information is out there. You can read a book, you can listen to a podcast that will tell you how to do that. So why doesn't everybody, presuming they want to, have six-pack abs? Why doesn't everybody, presuming they want to, be a billionaire or be financially whatever? Because often it doesn't just take the information. That's one component of it. And certainly with HealthPointe, there's a science, there's a methodology to it. There's a cadence that works with the human biology that we absolutely follow. But it's the coaching, the accountability that helps that process to work. So I just thought that he was a great example of someone that absolutely had all the information, but absent of that coach facilitator, just wasn't able to get the results. So thank you again on that. And next, at least according to my notes, I have, well, I'll go through the string here. We have Billy, and then Marilyn, if you care to, Larry, and David. So Billy, if you're available, there you are. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning. How's everybody? I hope everybody doing fine. Just sitting here listening. I said that was fantastic, but I got to tell my story too. About 4 or 5 years ago, I had an issue. I didn't know I had that issue, but I had an issue. I went to the doctor. The doctor had the nerve to tell me that my cholesterol was up. Also, when the doctor told me that my cholesterol was up, and she also told me what I had to do if I don't fix it. In other words, if I don't bring my cholesterol down, it can cause my death. It can cause death. It can cause me to have a heart attack. It can cause me to have a stroke. And my mind started clicking. I just said, wow. I thought like John Maxwell. I just said, I'm not ready to die. So what I had to do is I told myself I haven't reached my dream yet. So I had to make some changes. And the doctors told me, and she went ahead, she continued to talk to me. She was sort of scared me up, but what she did, she made me make a decision quick. I decided that she wanted to put me on medication. I just said, let me work on Billy. So with the help of Carol Zappa and my wife and everybody, and being on the call, I had to make some changes. When I thought making some changes, and when I went back in 6 months, my cholesterol was down. It wasn't down completely, but it was moving, and I was happy. And I continue to do. I continue to do that, and I have continued to do it until I finally got my cholesterol down where it's supposed to be. So that's all I got to say for today. I enjoyed everybody on this call, and I learned a lot from you all.
Well, we enjoy you, Billy, and so glad that you have been able to, as you say, work on Billy. I love that phrase. I'm going to work on Billy. And you were able to improve your numbers, your cholesterol numbers, stay healthy, and, work that ranch out there in Texas that, that requires a lot of health and vibrancy to do that for sure. So thank you so much, Billy. Always appreciate you. Marilyn, I mentioned you can be next if you choose to, and I'll give a bit of a count here to see if you unmute. And if you do, great. If not, we will move on to the next person if they choose to, and that would be Larry. So Marilyn will move beyond you, but welcome, Marilyn. By the way, gosh, I don't have your dashboard up in front of me, but guys, we've heard from Marilyn, and she continues to do so well, has maintained very well through the holidays here, through Christmas. And forgive me, I don't have your exact numbers, but you're well into the 20 pounds down and just tracking super, super great. So excellent job on that, Marilyn. And moving on, if you're interested and available, Larry, and then David after that. Good morning, Larry. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Eric. Good morning, Eric. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, Eric, first of all, I want to brag on Eric. As we look at you, Eric, you're such a good role model. Look at you, you're slim and trim. And Eric, you're one of the 2 people that I know that have actually got down to their high school weight. Okay, I know one other guy, and he's a fanatic. Okay, he does stuff every day. He's like wearing himself out. He tells me, "Oh, Larry, I'm sore," and this. He's just working himself to death. But he is down at his high school weight. Excuse me. And and with that group that we do swimming, okay, and I see other people who are there, and they're losing weight too. However, the weight that they're losing is like sagging skin. It's not. You can tell underneath that they have some muscle underneath there. That's what I say too. Hey, I got some muscle underneath there, but you can tell that they have lost weight, but it's mostly sagging weight, and it's not defining them. And that's one of the things that, because when I hear people say that they were on the scale, because I was like that too. Look at the scale. Oh man, I'm up a couple of pounds. Oh, I'm down a couple of pounds. And that's not the only thing, as Ruben says in her book, that that's not the only thing. Sometimes I found it helpful to see how you look in your clothes, okay, because a lot of times it's not the weight that's happening, but you find that your body is changing. You find that your clothes fit a little looser. You find that you're getting your belt, you're going belt loop to belt loop. And so that's another indication. And sometimes we need to consider that, as being stuck in, whether my weight went up 2 pounds or down a few pounds. And so that's also helpful as well, and one other thing before I finish is that, Eric, I heard you talk about going back on the program. And I do too. So I'm getting ready to go back into weight loss. I've been on maintenance for a while, getting ready to go back into weight loss, especially after these holidays. I don't know whether anybody else is with me, but one of the challenges for me, and I don't know whether, because I had to do a lot of paperwork as a teacher, is being consistent at writing down my information, keeping track, okay, because I'll start on it. And then while I'm on the program, hey, I'm keeping track. But even while I was on the program, I had a couple of times where, you didn't write it down immediately. And so as the day went on, you forgot about what you had or what you didn't have. And so keeping track is such a good thing. And I think, as David has mentioned many times before, I look back through my previous records of keeping my food logs, of keeping track, and they're very helpful to me. But, I'm still, as that habit that I'm still working on, which is being consistent at writing things down. Like you said, you can't be your own health coach, or sometimes you can do what you can, but you need a little bit of help and a little bit more assistance and maybe some more ideas. But your food log is also a good, keeps track, and it kind of keeps you accountable along with your coach. And your coaches can also bring up your food log as one of those things that you need to adjust. But if anybody has any ideas of what things they're doing, I found one of the things that they mentioned in the book, and one of the books that we read, was make things obvious. So try to, put things in obvious places, or in your point of view, so that that that's something that you need to do. So if anybody has any other suggestions about record keeping and what makes it easier for them, then let me know. I know some people have a to-do list. So anyway, that's all I have. And hey, Happy New Year, everybody.
Hey, that's great, Larry. And thank you for the kind compliments. And, all of us have great examples, like Carol, Hank. Carol, I don't know what what your weight was in high school, but I have to imagine you're right at that weight as well. For those that have seen Carol live, and then we of course see her in Zooms regularly. That is definitely some high school weight there, and probably for many of us actually more fit, more healthy than we were in high school. And yeah, maybe that weight is there, but also we're actually more metabolically as it is healthy. And Larry, to your question about the writing things down and stuff, I think, and if anybody has any ideas or thoughts on this, obviously let's all chime in and comment on what Larry is asking about. But I think the first thing, just personally, I would acknowledge that in the program, both with me personally and also with people that I help coach, that is probably one of the hardest parts, is that writing down or recording what you eat, what you drink. But let's just focus on the food, what you eat during the day. And I also personally struggle with it. It's not something that comes to me easy. There's other elements that do come to me easy. I enjoy checking in, for example. Nobody has to, beat that into me. That's something that I actually enjoy doing. But a couple of things. One is, I think what you say, Larry, if you make it obvious. So if you're struggling with it, and like anything, just recognize that it's going to be difficult before it's easy. Doesn't matter if you're setting a habit to do walking. The first time you put on your shoes to go for a walk, if you're going outside, you would think that you've never put your shoes on in your life. It just feels so clunky, but get a dozen times or 20 times, and now you can do it and chew gum. So just recognize and acknowledge that it's supposed to be hard before it's easy. So when it comes to recording things, you might want to put, pads of paper, maybe one in the kitchen, one at on your nightstand. Make it, as you say, Larry, easy, make it obvious. That could be a technique. Another thing is there are apps out there that I would have thought would have been a struggle for me, because I would prefer to write something versus, thumbing it in, like a text on my phone. But I did find that both Emily and I found that the Carb Manager app, and there's others out there that work similar to that, but they have a free version of it. It's called Carb Manager. One of the great things about that is most of us eat, like, really, even if we can categorize ourselves as quote unquote foodies, I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm a foodie. And then you actually look at what they eat. And like the rest of us, 70-80% of what you eat, breakfast, lunch, dinner, is the same. You've got maybe like a dozen different things that you tend to eat. And then once in a while you go outside the margins. Why do I mention that? In Carb Manager, first of all, pretty much every possible food in the world is on that app, including like our Nutrilite organics. All of those types of things are in there, which means you just do a search, you find that, you enter it in, and it automatically populates your carbs, your fats, your calories, etc. in there. Of course, we're focusing in on the net carbs. So that means that, day to day, if you build a habit of just loading it into Carb Manager, you don't have to fresh type it in or fresh write it in every time. You can just literally if your lunch was the same as yesterday, you can just duplicate that into the next day. So it's just very, very easy. And the last technique that I would say, and to be transparent, I haven't implemented this much in this realm, but I do use it a lot. And that is, particularly if people use Google Photos. Now there's different platforms out there, but I'll just focus on Google Photos. Sometimes it's just super easy to take a photo of something. Okay, so you're having your breakfast, you just hold up your phone, you take a photo of it. You having some lunch, or having your protein snack, or maybe it's that thing of water, you just take a photo of it. And those photos, you can have an album, and you can have that shared with your coach. Okay, so you just take that picture of your dinner, and then yes, you have to add it to that album, but it's super, super easy to do. And it might not be it is very specific, but it's like a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? You take a look at that lunch, you take a look at that dinner, you take a look at that breakfast, and it's very visual, it's very clear. Your coach can look at that and just say, okay, yeah, you're tracking very well. Many times as a coach, you go, oh, wow, look at the size of this piece of fruit. That's not in guidance with the HealthPointe program. Fruit is good, but that apple's as big as your head. You need to cut that sucker in half or quarter it or something. And you'll see some things there that you might not if you just write it down. So that's what I would say on that. Make things obvious, put notebooks around your house or wherever, and make it easy, make it obvious. Maybe check out the Carb Manager app, the free version of that, and then also think about taking pictures. That's my suggestions. I hope that's of some value there.
That's very helpful.
Okay, great.
Those are great ideas. And I wasn't familiar with the Carb Manager. I like the digital aspect of the HealthPointe app, or whatever app you're using. The important thing is something that you're comfortable with. And so Eric gave some great suggestions that he's comfortable with. And when you're comfortable with it, you'll teach it. You'll do it first yourself, and then you'll teach it. But for those that aren't comfortable digitally, or it's too easy to forget digitally, you can, if you're like really down home, simple, all you have to do is take one of your pictures of your journal or your journal itself, and just take a picture of it and keep it in your kitchen, because that's where you eat. And so it's pretty much where you're going to be doing any kind of tracking of that nature. And just if it's on the counter, you're going to see it all the time. And the more you see it, the more it burns in what you're doing. And again, goes back to the habit. So the more it burns in, whether it be digital or whether it be a plain picture of a daily journal, it's something you see, you do, and then you make it a habit. And again, going back to the habit thing and the accountability. I think when a person goes on HealthPointe, especially after they've not been on it for a while, or they've gone and did it before and don't have that much weight to lose. I certainly fall into this category from time to time, where I think, oh, I just want to get down 5 pounds, no big deal. Well, and as a result, I treat it that way, where if you come in with a new person mentality, like, okay, wow, I'm starting this brand new cycle. I'm going to start like I'm a brand new person. And what's the best way for me to be accountable? Well, you can go back and say what worked before, what didn't work before, but be accountable. And so if you do go on it for the umpteen millionth time, first of all, call your coach and say, I'm going on it. Tomorrow is the first day. And let them know. And then I'm going to send in my digital or my picture. I'm going to take a snapshot of my eating and drinking and steps every day, I'm going to send that in every night, or I'm going to send it in every morning. Whatever's the habit you want to create, do it like you did it the very first time you ever did it. And my experience has been you get better results because you're going in like a brand new person making a brand new commitment rather than I'm gonna run through this again. That's lost a little luster. So again, it goes back to the accountability. If you're going to be having to report, so to speak, to a coach every single day while you're on the program, then find out what the best platform for you, and then do it every day and announce to your coach that they're going to get it every day. And I just find that's more effective.
For sure. No, that is excellent for sure. It's easier to take it, do the program like in a serious manner than in a casual manner, for sure. So thank you so much again, Carol, on that. And then we are going to go to David if you're interested, and then I'll do a quick wrap up because we started a few minutes late. We're just a little bit after the hour here, and I'll wrap us up just with nothing in particular, but just I'll close us out. But David, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Grateful. There's a little bit, very little, but a little bit of sunshine in Michigan. It's been a long time this morning. But as I'm listening to everyone, I think of two Jim Rohn quotes. And the one is, repetition is the mother of skill. And the second one is that every discipline affects all your other disciplines. And so whatever you improve upon in an area, it'll affect all the other areas. Sadly, vice versa. If you go downwards in a discipline, it could affect other disciplines as well. And so one of the things that I thought of was all of my grandchildren take music lessons, because music lessons is a great place to learn. Repetition is the mother of skill. And so I have a granddaughter who's just turned 14, irritates me a lot as a teenager, but she practices her piano 15 minutes a day. I think it should be longer, but she has a check-off board that she does every day that she practices. Well, I went to her recital and was blown away by how well she did. And also in comparison to the other students, which obviously don't do it every day. And that's a big part of it. 15 minutes, not much, but every day it just compounds and compounds. And so the last thing is that Carol talked about taking a pill, and the advertisements make you think that you're easy and feel better. And there's a recent ad. I'm not even sure this is really bad because I don't know what they're advertising. But the ad that was out this season was an older man, very frail, gets up early in the morning and goes into a shed with a big, like a 20-pound weight that's, I don't know what you call them, but it's just one big ball and you have a handle on it. And he picks it up and he drops it. And there's a big bang. And they show him like a few days later and he picks it up a little higher. And it's a huge bang when because he can't hold on to it. And the neighbors hear it. And the ad kind of goes on. But then the end of the advertisement is he's dressed in a suit, Christmas, going to his daughter's house. And he sees his granddaughter. And the gift to her is a star to put on top of the Christmas tree. And he can pick his daughter up and help her reach the star on top of the tree. And that was his goal. But anyways, that was a nice wholesome ad compared to a lot of the other ones we see. That's it. Make it a great day, everyone.
Oh my
Emotions,
gosh,
emotions.
Yes. Wow. I want to run and turn on the TV just to see that commercial. That is, doing things for a reason, and that's, something that I know, Carol, you do a great job reminding us to, that HealthPointe is not giving things up. It's so that you can gain things. And David, I think that's what you're illustrating there in that beautiful recap of that commercial, is that gentleman he had a dream. It was a beautiful commercial. I didn't know, when you just see him lifting the weight, why is he doing this? Is he just grinding his way through this and just, in an ogre manner, just doing his workouts or whatever? No, he wanted to be able to lift his granddaughter. That was his dream. That's why he's doing that. And what a great commercial. I want to run and turn on the TV and try to find that one. And then for those, go ahead.
I was going to say that reminds me of Bill Wall. If you've ever been on the HealthPointe, Bill's on actually the back of the HealthPointe kit. And back in 2001, he wanted to lose weight because he wanted to be able to get down on the floor and play with his children. He lost almost 100 pounds, about 90 some pounds from, I don't know, a short period of time before the following year. And he kept that off. And here's 2023, and he still has all that weight taken off. But now he's on the floor with his grandchildren and probably soon great-grandchildren. And it's those emotional goals. That's what really rings out there on that ad. So back to you, Eric. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's a great reminder. So Bill Wall is, like Carol said, dropped 100 pounds, had his reasons for doing it. He's literally on the back of the HealthPointe kit. He's one of the numerous people that are on there. And yeah, he's just a remarkable example of getting healthy and doing it for, wonderful reasons. So thank you again, David Dassow, and thank you for those for those that don't know David Dassow, I call him, the quotable quotes of David, because he just comes in with these zinger quotes that are just really meaningful. And so to come in and hit it out of the park again, quoting none other than Jim Rohn, who is, if anybody's listened to Jim Rohn, he's just full of just great wisdoms and what a wonderful ones about habits. So thank you, David, on all of that. So just a couple of almost housekeeping things as we wrap our time up this morning. One, some of you might have received an email. If not, just let me know if you want to get the email. I'm going to work to do a better job of sending out an email that contains a recording, a link to the YouTube recording of our latest episode. And then also a link to this Zoom. For those that don't have that, they can have that in their email so that they can join. And sometimes I'll do a short 1 or 2 minute kind of intro or preamble to what that episode is about. So if somebody is like, okay, I'm not sure if I want to jump in and listen to, 60-minute, 1 hour of YouTubes, I want to just, what am I going to be hearing here first? So I do that little 1 or 2 minute overview to do that. The other thing you can do is just open up the YouTube, and down in the notes below the YouTube, I often will break it down by speaker and the chronological time in that YouTube when that person is talking. So you'll see Carol said this, or Kathy said this, or Larry said that, etc. And so you can just skip to that and kind of, more of an a la carte type of a experience on that YouTube. So what's my point? One, just if you're not receiving that and you want to receive that, just check with your coach and maybe get it from them or reach out to me. The second thing is, and maybe I'll put some verbiage in there. I don't want the email to be, too big or anything, but share it. Certainly when you receive that email, feel free to share it to anybody and everybody that you've talked with HealthPointe about. We often say, people have to kind of be ready, and there's a bit of a nurturing effect sometimes. And if they can have a steady cadence of these wonderful walk and talk YouTubes where they can just be listening and see who we are as a community and get a basic understanding of how the program works, so share it. That's what it's meant for, is to be able to just forward that email to people that So there's that as a programming note. And I don't think we can wrap this up without wrapping up the fact that this is our last episode of 2023. Wow. I just find that hard to believe. So Guys, this is certainly the highlight of my Saturday, is getting together with my peeps, with this wonderful community. And so just, from Emily and I, it's been a wonderful 2023. And guys, Happy New Year. And we'll see everybody next week, same time, same place here on Zoom, but a different year will be in 2024. So guys, until then, Happy New Year and bye-bye.
Happy New Year, everybody. Bye. Thanks, Eric.
Bye-bye.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.